Everyone, I want to welcome everyone to Real Estate Stories with Prime Real Estate Rick. I'm your host, Prime Real Estate Rick. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the newest series brought to you by the Prime Real Estate Network. This is a great and exciting series we have planned for you. What we'll do here on a regular basis, myself and my guests, what we'll share are some strange and sometimes shocking stories from the field here in the real estate world, not only here in our great city of Houston, but everywhere in the state of Texas. This is one of the series here that we're bringing to you at the Prime Real Estate Network channel that we mean to not only educate, but also grant you a certain level of experience that you would not be able to get without actually being out there in the field. This week's guest is not only a successful entrepreneur, but he is also a real estate rock star with the family over at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. You may have seen this gentleman on his appearance on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast, but most importantly, this gentleman, you may have met him during all of his philanthropic endeavors in the community and the amount of time he's given back to helping those out in his community. So I would like to thank our guest this week to Real Estate Stories with Prime Real Estate Rick, Mr. Sedric Hudson. How you doing, Sid?
Hey, man, I'm good. I gotta go ahead and give you a round of applause for that introduction. I appreciate it so much. Man, I want to thank you
so much, brother, man. I almost feel guilty to the audience because the conversation that we're having tonight is something that we kind of teased on the podcast last week, man.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you today about your experience selling homes for clients that have had solar panel technology installed on their properties. Could you share with our audience, Sedric, a little bit about not only your experience in that sector, but also how the latest edition of the Texas Realtor magazine kind of like reminded you of this story that you're going to share with our audience today?
Man, absolutely, Rick. I don't know if I want to laugh or cry before I start the story, man. But we're going to get into it. But before I jump into that, man, I just want to tell you that I appreciate you having me on the show. Congratulations with the Prime Real Estate Network, with your show here. Not only with what you're doing, but just the platform that you're allowing other agents to leverage, man, just to get us all on a high playing field. So I appreciate that, brother. Shout out to you.
Hey, man, look, brother, when we talked off air last week about the complications that you had to deal with this particular listing, I knew it was something that we had to share with everyone. Because if you've worked with properties with solar panels, you may have some experience. If you haven't, you will probably one day be confronted with this same challenge. So without any further ado, Cedric, the floor is yours, man. Give us some game and let us know a little bit about what you went through.
All right, man. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of game from what I've learned and experienced. So I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit, man. So I was laying down in the bed the other night preparing for the Prime Real Estate Network show. So I'm laying back just doing some casual reading in the Texas Realtor magazine, kind of seeing what's going on in there. And I flip to a page to the back, and it starts talking about solar panels. And so I'm reading the story, and a long story short, with that story that's in the Texas Realtor magazine, it was an agent that had a client. They were trying to sell a home, had solar panels on the home. And through a crazy series of events, that agent lost out on multiple offers because of these solar panels and basically the stringence and the ties that it put on her sales. So as I'm reading through this story, I'm just like, am I dreaming? Am I in the middle of my sleep? Because this is exactly what just happened to me the week before. So as I backtrack, I had a listing. I was over on the north side of Houston. I have a family that I listed a house for. And when I pull up to the house, we have our listing meeting. And we go through comps, what we're going to list the house for. And we get to the topic of solar panels. And I'm like, oh, great. Man, I got solar panels on this home. This is only going to boost our return on our investment, right?
Absolutely. Like, perceived value for the customers. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking this can only be good because we got solar panels. Nobody else in the neighborhood really has them. So you're going to get your money's worth. So we list the home, we start getting offers rolling in, they're rolling in and they're rolling in. And we finally get one under contract and we get towards the end of the process of closing this deal out. So mind you, we're talking about a week before closing. The title company calls me and they say, well, Mr. Hudson, we may not be able to close out this deal because of these solar panels that are on the home. And I'm just like, well, what are you talking about? What's going on? And so I get all of this information all of a sudden at once. So basically what happened is the solar panel guy that came knocking at the door for my client, you know, he gave her the rundown and the layout of solar panels, sold her the solar panels. Now, let me preface for our audience. This is not me saying whether I am for or against solar panels. I'm simply just giving the knowledge about what happened in this particular situation, right?
No, and I want to thank you for sharing that, Sedric, because the technology that they've developed to help homeowners conserve energy, add value to their properties, something that me and you both value, and something that we've seen people be wildly successful with. This particular scenario, what you're going to educate us on is some of the roadblocks and some of the challenges that can occur when you finance something as valuable as solar panels. So continue, Sedric.
There you go, and I appreciate it. I had that brain fart for a moment. So the roadblocks, that's the word that I was looking for, the term. So it created a lot of roadblocks. So long story short, we come to find out that although the solar panel company had expressed to my clients that the solar panels were not attached to the lien on the home, meaning that when she financed the solar panel company attached that loan to the loan on her home, which changes up the game for her totally. Number one.
And for those in our audience, Sedric, who may not be as knowledgeable about that type of process, when you say it added an extra lien to the property, could you just speak to what type of challenge and change this could be for someone selling their home, especially if they didn't know that this was going to be the case?
Absolutely, because it created this challenge for us. So now that we have this basically second loan on the home, when my seller got ready to sell their home, that loan for the solar panel had to be paid off just as well as the loan on the home. And if the seller does not pay off that loan on the solar panels, or if they default on the loan on the solar panels, and these are kind of two different scenarios, that solar panel company can foreclose on your home just as if you weren't paying your mortgage. So that's where the complication came in, right? Because they added that lien from the solar panel to the lien on her home, now it's all like it's one. So if I don't pay my mortgage for so long, we know that the mortgage company, the bank, they'll come and foreclose on my home. Absolutely. In her case, if she did not pay on the solar panels, then that solar panel company could foreclose on her home, meaning that they would then own her home. She would be homeless. They could resell it. They could make a profit off of it simply because those loans were tied together. So that was one of the complications. The second being, the title company expressed, well, to my client, you have to pay off this loan for the solar panels before you can move on and sell the home, or the new buyer can assume the loan, meaning the new buyer of the home can say, hey, I want to take over your debt as I buy this house. What buyer in their right mind would really want to do that, right? They're already making this the biggest purchase of their life with a home. Not many buyers.
And the toughest part, Sedric, is you didn't have an opportunity to disclose that to the potential buyer.
So we weren't able to disclose that, and I'm glad you said that. So we weren't able to notify the potential buyer because we were not aware of these terms until we got to the point of closing. So it's not like we were withholding information. It's just once we said, hey, we want to close on this deal, the title company tells us, well, solar panel company says X, Y, and Z. So it made things very difficult because not only does the title company and the mortgage lender that my seller have their contract that they have to follow, but the solar panel company also has their own contract that puts strengths on the whole entire process. So with that being said, I finally got my seller to agree, which rightfully so. Okay, you have to go ahead and pay these solar panels in full if you want to go ahead and sell the house. Now, depending on what type of solar panels you bought, how big, how much energy they're bringing into the home, determines how much these solar panels could cost. So it could range from $10,000 up to $30,000. It just depends on the actual buyer. So as we finally decided that, yes, we understand we have to pay off this solar panel loan because the new buyer's not going to assume it, the solar panel company tells us that the seller actually cannot pay off the total amount of the solar panels. So I made that same face. I said to myself,
no, because the question, no, because that brings up the immediate question is, what do you mean we cannot? So
exactly.
Just elaborate on how they explain that to you, Sedric, please.
So per their contract, the buyer of the solar panels must be paying on the loan for the solar panels for at least 5 years before they can pay off the loan of the solar panels. So my seller had just gotten the solar panels put on the house last year. Now, mind you, on top of that, this is a 25-year note. So she has 24 years left, and the solar panel company tells her you can't pay off the remaining balance until you have paid into the loan for at least 5 years. So I was on the phone with the solar panel company for hours one day, and I said, well, so what you're saying to me is my buyer who bought a product from you cannot actually pay for the product in full until a 5-year mark. But you do understand that they're needing to sell their home. Or pay off the solar panels until the 5-year mark. And they said, absolutely, yes. So we went back and forth with that for a while. And we finally hit a mark where I was able to speak with someone. And they informed us, okay, they can't pay it off. But what they can do is what's called a prepay, which essentially is almost the same as a payoff. But this is how they twisted it up or spun it. So basically, long story, the solar panel company wanted their money.
Right.
So per the contract, the cost of what my seller was paying for the solar panels was going to increase by 2.9% every year for those first 5 years.
Okay.
And so, which is why they had that stipulation that they must pay on the solar panels for the first 5 years, because that's really where they make their money.
Right.
So they finally allowed, they ran the numbers, and they ran the numbers under the sense of, let's basically pretend that your client has had the solar panels for 5 years already, with the 2.9% inflation every year for the first 5 years, in addition to the interest for the remaining 19 years. And then my client was able to prepay that total amount. So in short, instead of paying off $24,000 at the end of the transaction, my client ended up paying $33,845.23 just to get from under the solar panel. So it cost her an extra $10,000 than what it would have costed her to get from under it. So it was just, man, it was a lesson learned. And as I said before, I'm not trying to speak for or against solar panels. What I'm simply saying is go out, get you a real estate professional, get you a professional that knows that area of business so that they can educate you. So had we discussed this before, or had I gone through this before, I would have made a few recommendations, right?
And what would some of those recommendations have been, Sedric?
So number one, I would have recommended that you have someone professionally alongside of you to walk you through that process, right? That's number one. Right. Number two, if you can, pay for the solar panels in full. If you're able to do that, pay for them, get them on the house, they'll save you money, so forth and so on. Now, if you can't do that, some people say, well, we can't, that's why we finance it. Then I would have recommended, okay, go ahead, maybe go to your bank that you bank with, get a loan from your bank for the amount that it costs to pay for the solar panels in full, pay for them, have the solar panels put on. Now you can repay your bank back, and you're paying your bank a fixed interest rate instead of a fluctuating or a rising interest rate. And if for some reason you default on that loan repayment to the bank, they're not coming for your house. There's just other avenues, right? So I think that there were better ways to go about it to get what she wanted, but it was a lesson learned, and it cost her a lot. But again, as you know, Rick, this is why we talk about the importance of having a real estate professional with you, because just because the process seems easy doesn't mean it's always most beneficial for the buyer or seller, right? Like, we can't always save you 10, 20, 30 thousands of dollars, but you never know. And so you want to make sure you have a professional alongside of you throughout that process.
No, and Sedric, man, I want to thank you so much for your transparency and for sharing this story with the audience, because the things we want to do here with real estate stories from the field is give everyone an opportunity to live vicariously through each other's experiences.
Yeah.
Because if you have not run into this problem, possibly you could in the future, because the prevalence of solar panel technology in the residential real estate sector is only growing.
Yes, it's on the rise. Absolutely.
And this is an education not only for us as real estate professionals, but also buyers, sellers, and investors. So just to recap, Sedric, one of the things that you mentioned that I was really intrigued about was the fact that you would advise buyers to have their realtor with them at the time of purchase with the solar panels, so that they can discuss not only the financing, the ramifications, and any potential liens that could be put on the home by financing it the wrong way.
Absolutely, 100%. And that reminds me to tell our audience, I mean, you got to remember that relationship that you build with your real estate agent should be exactly what I just said, a relationship that you build, right? This is not just a transaction. So just because the house is bought doesn't mean that relationship with buyer and agent is over, right? So if you get your solar panels a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years into owning your home, hopefully you built that relationship with your real estate professional that you can always reach back out to them and say, hey, I need this. Hey, do you mind coming over and sitting down with me and talking me through this? Because it is a relationship. And that's how we built that community. That's how we experience growth. That's how we establish legacy, by doing those things together. Because none of us knows it all, but we can work together to try to figure it out, right?
Absolutely, man. And this is one of the most valuable parts of having this platform. And I want to thank you again for sitting in with me, is because at Brooks and Davis, one of the things that I think adds to our real estate family is this opportunities and the advantages that we have when we do the back and forth, the brainstorming, the exchanging of ideas, the being able to discuss things that may seem unique, but be surprised at how often it occurs with other people. So I want to actually urge everyone out there in the real estate community, if you're currently studying towards your real estate license, if you're already an affiliate with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, get involved, follow the programs, take advantage of all the things that are put in place to not only educate each other, but to also take advantage of the knowledge and expertise of all the people around us. Because I think that's something that as a real estate professional, we can all add to our toolkit to better serve the community.
Yeah.
So Sedric, please, before we sign off this evening, please share with the audience your Instagram handles, your contact info, so that anyone out there who needs information or consultation can reach out to Sedric the Realtor tonight.
Hey, absolutely. You can find me on all platforms, but directly, telephone number 512-736-6803, Hudson@brooksanddavis.com. Instagram handle is Sedric_the Realtor. Again, Sedric_the Realtor on Instagram, Sedric Hudson on Facebook, Sedric Hudson on LinkedIn, at Hudson Sedric on Twitter. So I'm on all those platforms. Hoping to be like my man Rick Davis here sometime soon and get that YouTube channel started. And so I appreciate that, man.
Hey, look, you know how it is, brother, man. If you ever need somebody to sit in with you, man, ring me up, because I owe you 2 now, brother. So thank you so much, man.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that one down.
Hey, man, stay out there, man. Stay on the hunt, man. Stay on grind and stay vigilant, brother, man, because the services you provide to the community are second to none. And I urge everyone in the audience to reach out to you and take advantage of your expertise, man. So thank you so much, Sedric, man. Until I see you again, brother, man. Great luck out there for you, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. Once again, I want to thank our guest this week, Mr. Sedric Hudson of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I want to congratulate him on all his real estate successes and congratulate him in advance for all the successes that he'll enjoy in the future. I want to make sure before I sign off this evening that I invite everyone to get involved. Please subscribe to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube by going on YouTube and searching the Prime Real Estate Network. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are a student in real estate school, if you're an aspiring real estate professional, or you're currently an affiliate, please keep up with everything that's going on at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm at our website at brooksanddavis.com. I want to thank you all. Until the next time we have an opportunity, you need to reach me. Please reach out to me anytime and be blessed.